When it's all on the line, you can count on Logan Webb and Wilmer Flores to win, in my opinion, the biggest game of the year.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on this show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, hosting this show for over 6 years, and I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Check us out there if you have not already. And please hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you're following the show. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. And coming up on today's show, Logan Webb went out there and dominated today. It was looking like it could be a frustrating 1-0 loss, which the Giants have suffered multiple times this season. So he pitched great, as did the bullpen. Wilmer Flores saved the day in a different role. We're going to discuss that new role for Wilmer Flores with the addition of Rafael Devers. And also Justin Verlander returns. But is he helping the cause or hurting the cause? We'll get into Verlander's return and some more stuff about Devers as well. So jumping right in, Logan Webb saved the day. I mean, first of all, so did Wilmer Flores, but you don't get to that point without Logan Webb. Like, the Giants offense has just been struggling again. They went to Colorado, they finally scored more than 4 runs in a game about 2 weeks ago now. And then since that time, they went to Colorado, they scored 6, they scored 10, they scored 7 in those 3 games. And then their first game in LA, they scored 6. And second game, they got 5, although a bunch of those runs came in I think all of them came in the 9th against a position player. And then they scored 4 in the finale. But then in this series, it just felt like they could not get it going at all. And they had a lot of opportunities, and they failed to come through time and time again. They ended up scoring 2 runs in all 3 games, a total of 6 runs in 3 games. And that is usually not going to get you much, and you're definitely potentially going to get swept. And they needed Logan Webb to go out there and do what he did today. And to me, he's making a very strong Cy Young case at this point. The next time he pitches, it'll be maybe the halfway game of the season. But 7 innings today, 1 run. It was on a bloop single. He did allow 7 hits and no walks, 9 strikeouts. There have been many games, if I am remembering correctly, where Webb has struck out a lot of guys. Almost again another 10 strikeout, no walk performance, which he's had a lot of in his career, and I think this year multiple times he's done it. But 9 strikeouts, no walks, 1 run on a bloop hit, and it lowered his season ERA to 2.49. His fielding independent pitching is 2.21, and the expected fielding independent pitching is 2.30. He's striking guys out at a rate that we have not seen in his career. Normally 114 strikeouts against just 20 walks. So 114 strikeouts, 408 total batters faced. That's a 27.9% strikeout rate. His career strikeout rate is 22.6. So that is up more than 5 percentage points, and that's a big deal. I mean, his previous career high, he struck out 26.5% of batters in his first season breaking out in 2021. And since that time, though, he's been more of a pitch-to-contact kind of guy. But this year, he's continued to get ground balls at a super high rate, but he's also been able to strike people out, and it has a lot to do with the fact that he's throwing his cutter and four-seamer a lot more, and they've become really effective pitches. It's almost like you can almost count on a strikeout when he throws a four-seamer up in the zone, because guys are not looking for that pitch, but he sneak attacks you with it, and it's been so effective. So he's just been unbelievable. And this is just a random thought that's popping into my mind, but he mentioned a day or two ago about Devers being under contract for 8.5 more years and how exciting that was. And he said, hopefully I'm here as long as he is or longer, something to that effect. But certainly he said, at least he said, as long as he is. And for Devers, that's through 2033. 2033. And for Webb, he's only signed through 2028. So they've already extended him. So after this season, you've got 6, 7, and 8, just 3 more years on under contract for Webb. And so I don't know. To me, he is 28. He'll turn 29 in November. But so age 29, 30, and 31 seasons are what he's locked up for. So you got to be careful. You don't want to commit yourself to a guy who could, pitchers are a little bit of risky business, but to tack on a couple more years wouldn't be the most upsetting thing at all to me, with Logan Webb being such a huge, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's clearly established that, and they needed him to go out there and do this today. The last time they won was his start against LA, 10 strikeouts, no walks. That was the game against Atlanta, 10 strikeouts, no walks. When he pitched against LA, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. He has a 12 strikeout, no walk outing this year. He has another 10 strikeout, no walk outing. So many times, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now today 7 times in 16 starts, he has 0 walks. And so as good as that strikeout rate is, the walk rate is phenomenal as well. And it always is. It's more, it's right in line with his career average. It's a little bit better than that. 20 walks out of 408 batters faced is a 4.9% walk rate. His career walk rate is 5.8%. So Logan Webb has made a big leap forward this year in his evolution. Like, he really has changed a lot of things, and it has led to even better results. Even though he's been very, very good in his career, he's taken another step forward this season. He's already thrown 101 1/3 innings now in 16 starts. And the last 2 years, he's made 33 starts. So he probably, if he stays healthy, which, let us pray, then he's on pace to pitch more than 200 innings again. He's just a innings eater, workhorse, and exceptionally good at preventing runs. And they needed it. They needed it so badly today when they just have had such trouble scoring runs. He goes out there, and the bullpen did its job as well. Randy Rodriguez and Camilo Doval shutting the door in the 8th and 9th innings. And the beauty is that Logan Webb picks up a win. I know pitcher wins, like, we certainly don't evaluate guys by pitcher wins and losses, but they certainly care. And if you're Logan Webb and you go out there and you throw 7 innings, 1 run, 9 strikeouts, no walks, your 1 run was a bloop hit, you are not going to be happy taking a loss in that game. So not only did he get off the hook for a loss, but the timing of the Giants with their comeback 2-run, bottom of the 7th, was perfect because Webb pitched 7, so that ended up crediting Webb with the win. So coming up in just a minute, we're going to get into Wilmer Flores saving the day. Logan Webb can be counted upon for that every time he goes out there, and Wilmer Flores in a big situation, it feels like he could be counted on every time he comes up in that kind of situation. So we'll get into him and his new role, and if that's going to change in just a minute. And before we get into it, Today's episode of Locked on Giants is brought to you in part by Trade Coffee. Let's be real. Coffee is not just a drink. It is a ritual, a lifeline, the thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if it's that essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they've got a roast you will love. I took Trade's quiz myself. It only took a minute, and the first bag they sent me was absolutely spot on. And I am a coffee aficionado and a coffee freak, and they absolutely nailed it with what they sent me based on the quiz I took. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's trade.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1-month trial. All right, here we go. We're going to get into the offense for the Giants, which consisted of very little, but just enough. Thanks again for making Locked on Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow, guess what? We're going to be talking with Gabby from Locked on Red Sox, previewing the series that gets underway tomorrow. And I think we might talk a little bit about Rafael Devers, who, the Giants and Red Sox stunned the baseball world with this trade. So I'm very interested to get to know her thoughts on all this and also preview the series. So looking forward to that. But Wilmer Flores, he did not start this game. He didn't start 2 of the 3 games. He only started against the left-handed starter in the middle game of the series. And I believe he didn't, nobody really did well. They lost 4-2. Justin Verlander was the pitcher. We'll get into that. He came off the injured list and allowed 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings, 3 earned, home run. We'll get into Verlander. But yeah, Wilmer Flores made the start in that game and went 0 for 2 with a walk and a hit by pitch. So he was on base twice. He got nailed, and he was not happy about it with a pitch. But with the addition of Rafael Devers, and that is his preferred name as opposed to Rafael, Wilmer Flores has kind of moved out of a starting role. And so I think it's fair to be like, really, you're taking this guy who's been so money for you all season long out of a starting role? Does that actually help your team in the long run? And I have my own questions about that. If you look at Flores's time with the Giants, he has pretty even platoon splits, and we're going all the way back to 2020, so it's a pretty big sample. And he's been above average against lefties and above average against righties, and it's not dramatically different, those figures. And so it's not like he is just a clear platoon player, but he is a defensively limited player, as is Rafael Devers. And so they're both kind of DHs, or you put right now Flores at first, but then that takes Dominic Smith, who's been pretty good, out of the lineup. And so it is a little bit, it's nowhere near the type of situation they had in Boston where they, it was a problem that was unsalvageable, and they ended up trading a superstar hitter because of his unwillingness to move positions to solve a logjam, I suppose. But anyway, the point is about Flores, and we'll get, I do want to wrap up the point I'm making about how they were both like DHs, and Flores could play first, but it moves Dominic Smith to the bench. Well, when Devers plays first, because it is apparent that he is going to play first base down the line here, I don't know when. It would be quite something if he did play first against the Red Sox in this upcoming series, because that was the whole drama over there, I should say, was that he was unwilling to do it, but it was because of broken promises and slights and perceived slights and whatever. But that's not the case here at all. And he's like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. But it doesn't actually solve the issue of having Wilmer Flores and you can't have Devers and Flores and Smith all in the lineup at the same time. You just can't do it unless Flores is playing like second base or something, which, that's a whole other point, is that right now Tyler Fitzgerald seems to be kind of losing his grip on the second base position. So in today's game, this is how it all went down, is that Tyler Fitzgerald did not start. It was Christian Koss who went 1 for 2. It was an infield hit, but they pinch hit for Koss with Wilmer Flores with runners on first and second, and I believe 1 out in the inning. And let's see. Well, I don't actually. Yeah, Patrick Bailey hit a sacrifice bunt. Did I say runners on first and second? It was second and third. Excuse me. It was a walk by Jung-Hoo Lee. Casey Schmidt actually led off with a single, and then Jung-Hoo Lee walked, and then Bailey bunted them over, and then Flores pinch hit for Christian Koss, who was starting in place of Tyler Fitzgerald. And then Flores delivered again in a 2-strike count. It was a sac fly situation where, like, even just a deep enough fly ball, you tie the game, and you would live with that even as the outcome. But instead, Flores drilled one down the left field line on the ground, hugging the line for a 2-run double. And he has just been so money. The team with runners in scoring position 1 for 7 today, and that was the one hit. And so I think they were 1 for 13 in those situations in the first game of this series. And then in the second game, they had their chances as well, and they just couldn't get anything done. 0 for 6 in the second game, left 7 on base. So just a miserable time to try to watch the Giants score runs here in this series. But Flores came through. So there's a couple things going on here. Flores' role has changed, and on the one hand, you're like, okay, he's not in the lineup, and so you're not getting your 4 plate appearances or whatever from Flores on a given day necessarily. He did start the middle game, but you're able to deploy him off the bench when you've got kind of a weak bottom half of the order right now. So they can pinch hit for a catcher, whether, like, if Bailey comes up in a critical situation, you could pinch hit for him and then replace defensively, replace Flores with your other catcher, Kisner, or you could use, we saw it the other day, Flores pinch hit for Tyler Fitzgerald, I believe it was. So whether it was Fitzgerald or whether it was, Dominic Smith pinch hit for Fitzgerald in the second game of the series. In the first game of the series, I'm just going to verify, Flores pinch hit for Fitzgerald. So they're doing this a lot now where they're using, Fitzgerald is getting pinch hit for. This is 2 of 2 games that he started, he got pinch hit for. And then in the third game, he didn't start, and it was Koss, and he got pinch hit for with Flores. So second base is an issue, because there's no one they're throwing out there that they don't want to pinch hit for. And they also, I don't think they want to play Flores at second base. They're worried about his knees, his lower half. I don't know exactly what, I think it was the knee that kept him from having a good season last year. And so they want to preserve him, and having him on the bench is, I think, something that they don't mind, especially when you can just, like, it was kind of, he just comes up off the bench, pinch hitting for Koss, delivers a 2-run double in a 2-strike situation, totally cold off the bench, and then gets pinch run for immediately. So he just comes up, does the job that nobody else could do all series long, and then gets taken out. And it was that simple. And so it's kind of incredible. And Flores is very versatile in this way. Like, he's comfortable doing that. And he also doesn't complain. I saw some stuff on, I think, MLB Network where they're like, well, what is Wilmer Flores going to say? Is he going to be disgruntled about the addition of Devers? And I don't think they just don't know Wilmer Flores and his attitude. He's like, I'll do whatever. I'll pinch hit. I'll start anywhere. I mean, maybe at this point with his legs, he doesn't want to start in the second or third base, which he's not good out there anyway. So they shouldn't do that. But regardless, it was just an amazingly clutch at bat by Wilmer Flores. Not just like in a 2-strike count. A lot of Giants have struck out or popped up or whatever in that situation recently. But so even a deep fly ball, deep enough, would be great. But he does better than that and knocks in both runs, and the Giants win the game. A game that, like I said in the open, I think it was the biggest game of the year for them to win, because they were staring at a 5-game losing streak if they lost this game, and would have been 0-3 in the Devers era with Boston coming into town. So a win, it just takes a lot of pressure off them to just get the win and go into the series against Boston just feeling better about themselves. That's how these things can go. And the Padres play the Dodgers later on tonight. The Padres are the 3rd wild card team. The Giants are the 2nd wild card team, and the Padres trail the Giants by 2 games in the standings. But the Brewers are right on their heels. So if the Padres lose, the Brewers would actually become that 3rd wild card team. So anyway, the Giants continue to have the 4th best run differential in baseball. So even though they're having trouble scoring, their pitching has been that good that their run differential is the 4th best in the National League, and suggests that their record, quote unquote, should be 43-32, not 42-33. So underperforming it by 1 win. And look, if they would have lost today, it probably would have had the same expected record of 43 wins, and they would have only had 41. And so it would have been, I don't know. And then they would have lost 5 in a row, like I said. And so this was a big league stop job by Logan Webb, and then Wilmer Flores with the clutch hit. But noteworthy that Fitzgerald's role is changing. They don't really trust him or Christian Koss in big situations. They don't want to play Flores there. I think Casey Schmidt might, if Chapman was healthy, be getting those opportunities. And maybe that's what ultimately we see when Chapman returns. Or they determine they've got to make a move and bring in a second baseman. They're clearly not afraid to make a significant trade. And it doesn't have to be this significant. But Buster Posey, they're going for it. And so if they don't believe in what they have at second base, then that's definitely a position to consider making a move. And right now, they don't believe in what they have at second base. And so that's noteworthy. So coming up in just a minute, we'll turn our attention to Justin Verlander coming off the injured list along with Patrick Bailey for the middle game of the series. And it was just more of the same, which is to say, not great from Justin Verlander. So do the Giants have a Justin Verlander problem on their hands? I will address and look at the numbers objectively in just a minute, and before we do. Today's episode of Locked on Giants is brought to you in part by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merchandise, a new Devers jersey, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. So for me, the lowest price guarantee and the clear seat views are game-changing, and why I go with Game Time every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, here we go. We're going to get into whether or not the Giants have a Justin Verlander problem on their hands. Thanks again for making Locked on Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers, tomorrow we're going to be discussing the Devers trade with Gabby from Locked on Red Sox and previewing the Red Sox coming into town. They've won a bunch of series in a row. They just won a series in Seattle. Predictions for the series, but mostly Devers talk, I'm positive. I want to know her side of everything that went down there. So can't wait for that, and make sure to check that out coming out tomorrow, Friday. So anyway, Justin Verlander gets activated from the injured list along with Patrick Bailey. I was very happy to see Bailey back in there. He right away, I mean, he threw somebody out. It looked like next to impossible that he was going to get the guy. He framed a bunch of borderline pitches today. I think when we see the umpire scorecard tomorrow, we'll see that Bailey changed the game with his framing with Logan Webb on the mound today. And so it's great to have him back, even if he's struggling with the bat. He's just so valuable defensively. He makes an impact. And the question is, does Verlander make a positive impact on the Giants? And if not, are they just in a situation where they're kind of stuck? I think that they are. So Verlander went out there, and like I already mentioned, he gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, 7 hits, 6 strikeouts, a walk in 4 2/3 innings. So that's quite a few strikeouts in 4 2/3, but also gave up a big 3-run homer. And his ERA for the season is now 4.45. The expected ERA is 5.01. The fielding independent pitching is 4.69. There's just nothing here that suggests really anything better than a mid-4s-ish ERA when I look at all this. And it could be worse, too, when you look at the expected ERA, the fielding independent pitching. Strikeout rate is below average. Walk rate is creeping up, and right now would be the highest in his career since 2008. Yes, you heard me right. 2008. It's not like it's super high, but it's 8.9%. That's around average, I think. Maybe a little worse than average, or maybe a little better. I don't know. But for Verlander, he's always been great at throwing, not walking people, but it's up a little bit this year. It's not crazy bad, but it's up. And the home run rate is way up compared to his career norm, but right in line with what he did last year, almost 1.5 home runs per 9 innings. So if you look at last year and this year combined, it becomes a pretty big sample, and he's got a 5.08 ERA last year and this year combined. He was dealing with injuries last year, true, but he's also 42 years old, and 5.08 ERA the last 2 seasons combined, 4.75 fielding independent pitching. Like I said, the strikeout rate is only 18.8% the last 2 years combined. It's just 19.0% this year. Home run rate, 1.47 per 9 innings. So I don't really see, if I just forget this is Justin Verlander and I'm just looking at the recent performance, I'm just looking at a pitcher who's below average. And the problem is he's Justin Verlander, and the problem is he's signed to a $15 million 1-year contract. So we're just about at the halfway point of the season. So say you were to trade him now, he has a full no trade clause is actually coming to my mind right now to remember that, which, is a little surprise. I get it. He's been around a long time. He kind of probably earns the right to request that, but you as a front office don't have to. You can kind of try to get that out of there, but he can, I believe, reject a trade to any team. And maybe just by having been in the league for as long as he has, he's allowed to reject trades. I need to verify that. But anyway, I don't see a way out if Justin Verlander struggles. Like, they're just going to keep running him out there as long as he's healthy, would be my guess. Like, I don't see them DFAing, like, the disrespect that, I think the respect that Posey has for Verlander would prevent him from doing something like that. And I think that could be the type of area where maybe Posey is perhaps going to behave suboptimally, because maybe is Carson Whisenhunt a better option right now? You just traded Kyle Harrison, but the rest of your rotation with Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Hayden Birdsong, and Landon Roop, you feel pretty good about all those guys. But Justin Verlander, it's just kind of like hold your breath when he's pitching, to be honest, is how I feel about it. And they have a lot of guys who are on the 40-man in AAA Carson Whisenhunt isn't even on the 40-man, but is their top pitching prospect at this point, pretty clearly. And do I think he would probably do a better job? Yes, I do. And so, in my opinion, they do have a little bit of a Justin Verlander problem. And there's really, I said this at the beginning of the year when he was struggling before he got hurt. I don't see an easy way out of this problem. I just hope if he continues to struggle and the season comes and goes, whatever the outcome, if his results are kind of this, that they don't just like bring him back for nostalgia and for the chance to have him, just because he's a legendary player, a big name. It's about results on the field, and Verlander has hurt them a little more than he's helped them, I would say. Wins above replacement, he's at 0.2 in 11 starts. So I guess an average replacement level player, he's been slightly better than that. And by the way, in the last 2 seasons, 0.9 Fangraphs wins above replacement in 28 starts. So it's just not very good. And he's a legend. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Father Time catches up with you, and it's looking that way this season so far for Justin Verlander. And so there's more I want to get to about Devers, but I think I want to save that maybe for talking with Gabrielle from Locked On Red Sox. Pedro Martinez, obviously legendary pitcher, just like Verlander. I mean, different, but legendary pitcher for the Red Sox for a long time. Came to Devers' defense because there's been a lot of guys, including Big Papi David Ortiz, who have been critical of Devers. But Pedro Martinez had strong words to say, and I do want to get Gabby's thoughts on this, including he said, if you try to sell me, knowing Rafi Devers, that Rafi is a bad teammate or he's not a team player, you're lying. So that's just a little snippet of a full quote. And there's a lot here. And so I want to get into that. I'll bring that up tomorrow when I speak with Gabrielle from Locked On Red Sox as the Red Sox come into town. That is all the time we have for today, though. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen. Today, for your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Once again, my name is Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like this show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. It helps me out so much, so thank you in advance, and thank you to everyone who's done so already. Can't wait to be with you again tomorrow. Thanks again for listening. Today, you are now Locked On Giants.